protesters in Iran. You've been in my heart since 1979. I'm so glad that I've lived long enough to see this woman. I'd like to say a few words in support of the women of Iran. As you know, it's a country where women bear the brunt of religious and cultural oppression. Back in 1936, under the old Shah, women were banned from wearing the veil. If they went out wearing the veil, the police would harass them, and that upset conservative Muslim women so much that they reportedly just stayed at home and wouldn't go out. After the Islamic Revolution in 1979, it became illegal for women to go out not wearing a veil. The punishments had been just horrendous, just unimaginable. In Ophelia Benson's book called Why Does God Hate Women?, she recounts the story of a 55-year-old woman who was sentenced to 80 lashes because a bit of her hair was showing. Her veil had slipped back. She was handcuffed face down to a wooden bed by two men and the whipping began. She said, "It was the total helplessness and subjugation, the lack of power, being robbed of dignity. It was a disgusting experience, so degrading and as violating in its way as rape. The mental scars were much, much worse than the physical pain," she said. And don't imagine it was a rare incident. In fact, some 100 women were arrested and sentenced at around the same time. But that was over 2 decades ago. Have things got any better? As you probably know, back in September this year, a young woman who probably hadn't even been born back then was arrested by the so-called morality police for the same heinous crime, showing a bit of hair. Her name was Mahsa Amini, and she died after 3 days in police custody. She was 22 years old, and so began the women's revolution in Iran. And let's not forget, this isn't just about controlling women. Homosexuality is specifically illegal in Iran. Gay men get hanged. Lesbians have been stoned to death. The only way, if you're gay, if you're discovered to be gay, the only way to avoid the death penalty is to pretend to be transgender and accept so-called sex reassignment surgery, which is subsidised by the government, which is very often botched and which doesn't protect them from social stigma and discrimination anyway. But pretending to feel born in the wrong body won't help Zara Siddiqui Hamadani and Ilham Toutba, who a couple of months ago were convicted and sentenced to death for being lesbians and for their online campaigning activities. Since the death of Mahsa Amini, over 400 protesters have been killed, including some 60 minors. what is happening is the beginning of the end of the theocratic, misogynistic, homophobic Islamist regime in Iran. And by God, it's been a long time coming. Yesterday, many of us gathered in Piccadilly Circus to cut off locks of our hair in solidarity with the women of Iran, where the burning of the hijabs and the public cutting of their hair is a massive symbol of defiance. And I can hardly believe I'm saying those words in the 21st century. The hair that was collected will be delivered to the British Foreign Office and the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran in London in a few weeks' time. In the meantime, I've still got plenty more hair left, and I can spare some in solidarity with the women of Iran. Here we go. For the women in Iran.
Montagnard, c'est pas